Today I have another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Wi-Fi battle versus my friend Cast the Flash. I will have a quick breakdown here of the team and then the battle will happen after. I'll have timestamps down below though if you don't want to see any of the team or hear why these Pokemon are there, and you can skip ahead. If you do enjoy these Wi-Fi battles, please let me know. Also, if you like the team breakdown, please let me know. It encourages me to keep doing it. And leave a like as well. And subscribe to the channel if you're new, as I upload Pokemon Scarlet and Violet competitive content every single day. This team in particular, while you will be seeing it in front of you, it's also on my website, pokeaimMD.com. Now, as you can see, I do have a Palafin. Now, Palafin, I'm playing 66 singles. 66 singles, Palafin is banned, right? 66 OU singles, Palafin is banned. And my opponent will actually have a Fluttermane. These are two Pokemon that we talked about beforehand. Basically because Cass found a shiny Fluttermane in their game, and he wanted to use it. So I was like, okay, I have a shiny Palafin in my game that I found during this marathon for Scarlet and Violet, and I EV trained it and everything. It was the first Pokemon I EV trained in my game. So I wanted to use it too. So we felt it'd be pretty equal, two Bandmons using them together. So I actually have like an old meta type of team, but it's still a very solid team in my opinion. Now this Palafin is Choice Band. Bulk Up and Choice Band are the two really good sets for Palafin. Choice Band Adamant with 460 attack. It's basically slacking. It's basically slacking, except that it doesn't get destroyed by its ability. It goes from 0 to hero. So the only thing you have to do with this Pokemon is send it in once, switch out, send it in again, and it becomes this giant, broken, amazing move Pokemon with Jet Punch, 60 base power, priority move, right? So the set I have is Wave Crash, which is my strongest water move, which is also why I have Terra Water, because I don't care about resistances with this Pokemon. I just want to click my water move as often as possible. We have Jet Punch, which is probably the move I'll be clicking most, especially if Cass ends up bringing offense, as it's a priority move that comes off of my base 160 attack. Flip Turn gives you some nice momentum, and typically you'd see Close Combat here as just good secondary coverage in general for the meta. But I have Zen Headbutt just in case random Toxapex. It's also good into Amoonguss, which is something that can also deal with this Pokemon. Considering Cass knows I'm bringing Palafin, and I know Cass is bringing Fluttermane, he could easily use something to check it, and this lets me deal with most of the Pokemon that can deal with Palafin, especially, unless you consider like them terrestrializing into a water resist, which can easily happen. But the idea is bring this Pokemon in. If I'm faster than the opponent, click the broken Wave Crash. If I'm not faster than the opponent, click the Jet Punch. If I Terra Water, my stab goes from 1.5 times to 2 times, and this mon's a demon. That's basically it. Also, its shiny is incredible. I love its shiny. It's one of, like, I think that Scarlet and Violet has some pretty bad shinies for some Pokemon. This one is sick. Now we have Eject Button Amoonguss next. And I hope you guys like this little team breakdown the way it looks. It was made by my boy Pedro specifically for me, and it's supposed to kind of match the aesthetic of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which I love about it, right? And you've just been tinkering with it here and here. But we have Eject Button Amoonguss. The idea is that if I lead Palafin and I go in my baby Palafin form, I've been calling Palafin Tim Allen, but if I go in my baby Palafin form, I flip turn out, and then I bring out Amoonguss, and then Amoonguss takes the hit from my opponent, I can immediately eject button back right into this Palafin, and then just get strong, get powerful, and start firing off my real attacks. It has Spore, put the opponent to sleep, Giga Drain, and Clear Smog. Clear Smog is just reset up like from Cursed Dondozo. And Foul Play allows me to hit physical setup mons like Dragonite, but also just give me like 30% versus Golden Go, which is a pretty good wall for Amoonguss considering it resists Giga Drain, it's immune to Clear Smog, and it's immune to Spore because of its good as gold ability. Amoonguss also lets me absorb Toxic Spikes for the team, gives me a Rotomancer for the team too, something that really annoys Palafin, and also it's something that can sit on a Pokemon like Ting-Lu and just eat its hits if it really wants to. It doesn't care too much about Ruination due to Regenerator and Giga Drain. Fully physically defensive for that. Now we have Choice Scarf Golden Go, probably the most common set of Golden Go besides Lasty Ply Air Balloon, and it's just a standard set of Shadow Ball, Make It Rain, Focus Splash, and Trick with Terra Fighting. Reason you're Terra Fighting is so that way you can not get knocked out by Chien-Pal's Sucker Punch or King Gambit's Sucker Punch, and when you Terra into fighting, you get the Stab Focus Blast, you'll be able to knock out King Gambit as long as it hasn't Terra'd itself, and also Make It Rain can comfortably knock out Chien-Pal without worrying about it knocking you out. And then Trick is there just to ruin Pokemon that might want to set up. Trick is pretty cool into like Dragonite, because if they Dragonite's up and then you trick them, you're faster than +1 Dragonite. And then, yes, they knock you out with Earthquake, but then they're locked into Earthquake versus a team with Corviknight. So it's really good for the situation. This also gives me something that can outspeed Fluttermane, provided it's not Booster Energy, which I definitely think Booster Energy is nice. And that's the cool thing about this Amoonguss on the team is that like I can lead Palafin, go Amoonguss on Fluttermane, and immediately go back out to Palafin and click buttons. And Golden Go also lets me keep up my hazards, which I do have with Garchomp, because it's good as goat ability, doesn't let my opponent defog, and also being a ghost type, it blocks rapid spin, and being a steel type, it blocks mortal spin. So it's really good for that. We have special defensive Garchomp with Terra Steel. This is something that was also meant to deal with Flutter Mane during that era, because I did take a team, shout out to my boy 3D, from that era of 66 where the Pokemon were alive. And it just gets up spikes and Stealth Rock, basically double hazards for the team, leftovers for longevity, Dragon Tail to force out the opponent, and also, you know, if they want to go Great Tusk after I've gotten up hazards and try and Rapid Spin, I Dragon Tail as they bring out Great Tusk. They already take the Stealth Rock and the spikes damage. I Dragon Tail, force them out. They take a little bit more, and I get to keep up my hazards. And then Earthquake is obviously just your stab Earthquake. Max Special Defense also lets me take hits from Scarf Chi-Yu, which is otherwise a very big threat versus this team, besides the fact that I obviously have Palafin to Jet Punch it. But like a Scarf Dark Pulse or a Scarf Flamethrower versus this team is very, very, very hard for me to switch into. So Special Defensive Garchomp kind of functions as the Ting Lu of the team with just a little bit more speed. We do have Corviknight. It's also special defensive with Body Press, U-Turn, Roost, and Defog. It has Terra type Fire, which can also let me check Chi-Yu. Basically, the team is super weak to Chi-Yu. I don't expect to be using this like roosting and things like that, especially because we are on a limited 20-minute timer. But just keeping up U-turn momentum and allowing me to potentially defog if my opponent gets up hazards too, just gives me hazard support for the team, and just basically take on the combination of Chien-Pao because of my Terra type Fire, but also if you look at the meta to Golden Go as well, just like sit on all of its moves. I do it naturally too, and even like tank hits from Iron Moth if I really need to, just to U-turn out to bring out my Palafin, I'll do it, and Terra Fire just allows me to do that. Then last but not least, we have 4 attacks Chien-Pao. Now originally this was Swords Dance. Well, this is one of the Swords Dance sets, and it was also Choice Band. I decided on Heavy Duty Boots just because our hazard control isn't very strong. But it would have been Choice Band with 4 attacks. Not Swords Dance. It would have been Choice Band with 4 attacks. But I decided on Heavy Duty Boots 4 attacks just because Chien-Pao is one of those mons that's just super strong in the metagame. With hazards up, this Pokemon does not care. I've used it so many times in Wi-Fi battles. If you guys haven't checked out my other Wi-Fi battles, I do have a playlist down below, which I encourage you to go ahead and check out. And yeah, Crunch, Ice Go Crash. I'm iffy about Ice Go Crash, I'll be completely honest. I think this should be Ice Spinner, but I'm not going to like change it now going into the battle. The reason is I love Ice Spinner's 100% accuracy, but I understand why it was Ice Go Crash is because I was using Swords Dance, and you want Swords Dance plus Ice Go Crash for the actual, the roll on Corviknight if you're running Life Orb, but I changed it to Heavy Duty Boots. And then Sacred Sword is there for like King Gambit and things like that. Being able to deal with opposing Chien-Pao, which is why we're running Jolly specifically on this one too, just because opposing Chien-Pao can definitely be a threat. If my Palafin gets low, because it can Sucker Punch it if it's low. If Golden Go can't Terra, and obviously Sucker Punch knocks it out, maybe I have to trick them. You know, locking them into one move like Crunch, for instance, is actually really strong versus my team. So we wanted Sacred Sword and Jolly to at least be able to speed tie, but also be able to just knock out Chien-Pao if things get bad. But that's basically the idea behind the team. It's a pretty offensive team. It does have some defensive pivots, but the idea behind them is all to let Golden Go, Choice Scarf, Chien-Pao, my Heavy Duty Boots, and my Choice Band Palafin just get off as many attacks as possible, which is why they work pretty well together. And Clear Smog helps them. It just helps out the team a lot versus setup, because my other option versus setup is basically tricking them with Golden Go. But if they have 2 setup Pokemon, it can get a little bit overwhelming for me to deal with. And obviously, in the case of like Volcarona, I at least have Garchomp, which is special defensive. So if I force it out after I take a +1 Giga Drain, because sometimes they Terra Grass, I won't die. I'll hit it out with Dragon Tail, and at least it hasn't set up, so I can go Chien-Pao later and then kill it with Ice Crash. But that's basically the team for today. Let's get right into the battle. All right, so here we have the game versus my buddy Cass. If you skipped ahead, I'd just like to say if you guys enjoy Pokemon Scarlet and Violet content, make sure you subscribe as I upload every single day. Also, feel free to give suggestions of Pokemon you'd like to see me use. Some people have been asking for a code for Smogon Singles. The code is 2023-2022. This is the code that my buddy put up, and I'll leave a screenshot of it here to let y'all know. But really good team with Palafin, man. Palafin look crazy here. I'm very excited. So I'm just going to lead off with it. I'm going to eject into Amoonguss and do my thing from there. Get up my hazards early, and then just try and use my Palafin as good as possible. Definitely some scary Pokemon on my opponent's side, though. Like a Spothra is a giant threat, but I do think that if I get up hazards and block well enough, I can just kill everything with Choice Band Palafin. Obviously, we do see Flutter Mane there, which is the big threat. But the goal is, as I mentioned in the team builder, I have a Jet Ball and Amoonguss, get in Palafin. If I want to flip turn immediately, I can. Bring out my, because I'm assuming Glamora type of leader, right? Or Slitherwing. Slitherwing is fine too. Now this is good because, like I said, they have absolutely no switches to this. So what I'm going to do is immediately, because I don't want to take a first impression, go hard into my Amoonguss on this. Because the way to activate this mon's ability is to send it out and then switch it out and then send it back in. So I'm assuming they first impression here, or they U-turn. Now the cool thing about U-turn is, and we know that's Choice Band, is that it doesn't actually end up working. It doesn't actually end up working unless from eject button. So I bring out the hero, and look how cool this shiny is. Look, I love this shiny personally. I love this shiny. It reminds me of Megamon. It really does. So the amazing thing is, like I said, their team has absolutely no switch-ins to this Pokemon. And Wave Crash is just a straight up kill on something. So I'm going to click Choice Band Wave Crash here and get my KO. I know their Choice Band based on the fact that they were doing 50 to my Amoonguss. So we immediately... The homie already put in work in the beginning. So we immediately get a huge shot off on that Pokemon. And this was really good because I was really worried about this thing's priority first impression. So Glamora comes out. Obviously Glamora is a threat. The good thing is my Chiempao does defog very easily. Or excuse me, my Corviknight does defog pretty easily. Especially because we're max special defense. So I'm going to see if I can use that to my advantage here. I'm assuming they get up Stealth Rock. I do have Pressure as well. Power Gem isn't going to be doing too much. They do Energy Ball there, which I'm completely fine with. And what I want to do is U-turn to break their Focus Sash. It is going to allow my opponent to get up the Toxic Spike, but what I want to do with this as well is get in my Amoonguss and get my Regenerator going, just because Amoonguss is going to be my Iron Tread switching. And the mon I'm super, like I said, I'm super scared about is a Spathra. But as long as I break this thing's Focus Sash and get rid of the, which I'm assuming it is, because they almost all are, and get rid of that Toxic Spike immediately from Toxic Debris by going Amoonguss, and like I said, at the same time, getting my Regenerator to get me back up to full, I'll be in a really good position. So this is just using my positioning early as good as possible, or as early as possible. And it looks like they're not Focus Sash, they're actually Black Sludge, so that's cool. What I can do here is actually get off a Spore then. They end up going for Sludge Wave. Does a lot. I'm not going to lie. I ended up doing a lot. But we put it to sleep. Now, because we are playing 6v6 singles, I have to abide by Sleep Clause. I'm not going to just spam Sleep. I really think that's a kind of whack way to play, personally. Of course, in doubles, when there's two Pokemon out, it's different. And Safety Goggles is a big thing there. And in 3v3, it's different too. There's a lot of ways that you can combat it. But in 6v6 singles, we've basically gotten rid of it. So I'm going to go Corviknight here. Maybe they try and burn a turn of sleep. They end up staying in there as they do. They can't really touch me with this thing, so what I'm going to do here is just defog away these hazards. They're smart. They're just wasting turns, burning turns of sleep here, which is very smart. But I just want to get rid of rocks to get in my Garchomp safely and just start getting up my own hazards and then just start punching them. Because then I get to basically just start punching them with my Jet Punches. Because Jet Punch will easily knock out Glamora. Who do they got into? They end up bringing out a Spathra. Now, this is a threat. This is a giant threat. But I don't think you Terra Fairy immediately. If they do, kind of scary. But the good thing is I am Terra Steel on Amoonguss, so I'll live a stored power and I can clear Smog from there. So what I'm going to do is Dragon Tail out immediately. If they do opt to Terra Fairy from the get, yeah, they're just Dazzling Gleam. I wonder if they're the offensive set. Come on, we do land, perfect. Oh, and based on that damage, especially if I get up rocks, I for sure kill him with Terra, Water, Jet Punch. So I'm good with that. I am straight up good with that. Let's see if we get Flutter Mane in. We do not. We get Iron Treads in, which isn't bad at all. Obviously, I threatened this thing with an Earthquake. I'm just going to go for it. They do knock me off just to get rid of my leftovers. You know, obviously ruining my longevity there. But I do get to pick. I do get to Earthquake here. And I may just KO them. Just shy of the KO. But the good thing is they actually cannot Rapid Spin to beat me because of the fact that I do have the Because of the fact that I do have the rough skin and everything, I didn't see if they took damage. I think they did. I think they did take damage from my rough skin abilities. So I'm just going to get up my hazards here. And then let them KO me. I do on rocks up for the asfgerthrrth. Basically, if you die by rough skin, you actually don't get rid of the hazards. So they do end up getting rid of the stealth rock, the spike there, unfortunately. But I do get up a spike, same as I think as stealth rock versus them. Obviously, I don't hit Chien-Pao for more, but that's okay. And again, like I said, if you die by going for it, and they know, if they die by going for it, they don't get rid of it. But this allows me to bring out Palafin one more time and just start spanking my opponent with these jet punches. And I love this mon so much. You hear my dog barking, they're just playing, having a good time. I'm not going to do anything about that. It's like 7, so they can think what they want, right? It's early. But it's time. Nice little jet punch. This animation is sick. I love it. They made it so good. It's a water punch, right? But, you know, it is what it is. And the fact that I was able to just pick up a KO turn 1, essentially, turn 2. But turn 2 on one of the bigger threats to my team is really, really good for me. So Glamora comes out. Now, Glamora can set up hazards if it really wants to. It can also Terra into grass, which I'm very worried about. I'm going to make the Chien-Pao play here. I think that if they wake up and Terra grass and energy ball me, I'm in a bad position. So I'll bring out Chien-Pao. Let's see if they stay asleep. They do. I'm completely fine with this thing going down, by the way, as long as I limit my opponent's hazards. So I'll just simply go for the Icicle Crash. They will wake up this turn, but I'll go for Crash. I mean, obviously I have the opportunity to flinch them. They're fully physically defensive. Nice. They are a fully physically defensive set. But I'm going for this just to get the damage on them. As I do not care too much about T-Spike because I'll be able to absorb them, but I care more about the fact that my opponent can threaten me with the what's it called? The Stealth Rock. But yeah, we'll crunch here. Does the same. It should beat him. I get a crit there. I don't think it matters too much because I would have 2-shot them anyway with the next crunch after. But yeah, they get the Mortal Spin off. They do end up getting rid of the spike by going for Mortal Spin. I could have went Golden Go, to be honest, but I think I'm in a good position regardless, just because, again, my opponent does not switch into crunch very well at all. They do not switch into crunch very well at all. So, and I'll be able to get rid of the Toxic Spike later. So yeah, we're just going to crunch once more. Not a move they can switch into. So we get rid of Glamora, perfect. They do end up getting a Stealth Rock up, but my Jet Punch is looking really good. And I have options for their Chien-Pao too. Like I have my one mon that can deal with it. I have my Palafin. Obviously, Jet Punch can knock him out. They end up bringing out Flutter Mane. I'm surprised they went raw Flutter Mane. Maybe they're sub, but I'll Sucker Punch here. I don't think it lives. Oh, it just barely survives. Nice. So it just barely survives there. I do want to absorb the Toxic Spike if I'm able to. But I think the correct play is to go out into Golden Go and just click Make It Rain. Because even if they're Scarf, they can't kill me. If they're Specs, I'm in a good position. They can't kill me with a Scarf Mystical Fire. They do a lot, but they can't kill me. Yep. Does a ton. Don't get me wrong. Does a ton. But they won't be able to kill me there. And then I simply knock out the Flutter Mane with that. Obviously, Chien-Pao is a giant threat. Don't get me wrong. But I'm always going to click Make It Rain versus that. I'm asways going to click Make It Rain versus a Asfgerthrrth. Though versus Asfgerthrrth, I'll actually Terra I'll Terra and Clear Smog, I think. Spam versus that. But yeah, we'll bring out Amoonguss here. Just raw on the attack. Absorb those Toxic Spikes. That way my Palafin is still in the back to be able to deal with this. But we absorb the T-Spikes. They do end up roosting, which means they cannot kill me in one hit. So they won't be able to kill me in one hit. If they're roost, I don't think they have sub. So I'm going to Spore here. Spore first, because Store Power is not going to kill me. They end up Terroring. If they Terra Fairy, I'm good. If they Terra Fairy, I'm good. That looks to be Fairy? I have no idea. I think that's Fairy. Or Psychic, right? Is it Terra Psychic with Storm Power? No way it kills with just +1 boost, right? Yeah, I'm about to say, no way that kills with just a +1 boost. So we're able to put them to sleep there. And then what I can do, because it hasn't boosted anymore. It hasn't boosted anymore. Yeah, that's Psychic. So I'm just going to hit them with Foul Play, get as much damage off of them as I can. And then Jet Punch them after. Oof. That's doing some good damage, though. I will be honest. That is doing some good damage. That is doing some good damage versus me. We'll clear Smog here. Let's see if they wake up. They don't wake up, which is nice. So I'm able to clear... Basically, I'm able to clear their... I'm able to clear that speed boost, which is nice. Get them stat changes eliminated. I really feel like if I Terra my Palafin, I'm good. I feel like if I Terra my Palafin, I'm good. So, I did let Golden Go get really weak when I probably should have just went out into that mon to deal with them. But I'm going to keep Clear Smogging here. As they do wake up. If they try and calm mine, I'm good. Again, I do have the Clear Smog, so that's not a big deal. And now that they've woken up, what I can do is just bring out... I'm assuming I die next turn, right? What I can do is just bring out my Palafin. Live every hit they go for. Because as long as we're getting rid of these stat changes, this thing shouldn't be a giant threat. I'm really just worried about the one mon in the back. I know what I'm talking about. That Demon Chien-Pao. So we Spore here. They should just opt... they do Roost. They do Roost. So we Spore. They can't wake up this turn. Which is nice. I get what Cass is doing. Cass is basically trying to be at as full amount of HP as possible to deal with me. I feel like I simply Clear Smog until they wake up and beat me. I know this part's a little bit slow, but I think this is what I got to do. I think this is what I got to do. I got to make sure it doesn't have enough boost to beat Palafin because I'm gonna Terra my Palafin and I'm gonna go for the nice little Jet Punch. It's gonna do a lot. It's gonna do a lot. A Spa Throw. If it's Calm Mind Roost, we already know it has Dazzling Gleam. It might be Fizz Def. But I still always 2-hit KO it. So, and it's not gonna kill me in one hit. So I'm literally just gonna click this forever, this Clear Smog forever. And then I end up going to my Palafin. I Terra Water, so I guarantee 2-hit KO them without dying to it as well. I did take a lot of damage from that Wave Crash recoil, but I should be good. I should be good. The reason I'm not clicking Spore, predicting the wake up, is also because this is not Pokemon Showdown, right? So I can't really like predict. It won't stop me from going for Spore, is what I'm saying. So, like, it will not stop me. It won't stop me. And if I accidentally Spore into Chien-Pao, based on the metagame we're playing, it's a loss for me. So, I don't want that to happen. I think right here I end up going for the Giga Drain, just because they're going to wake up this turn for sure, and they're probably going to Roost. They go for Store Power. Perfect, perfect. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. So Cass had enough of that. Cass had enough of that. But we keep them nice and low, and then I bring out the Jet Puncher. I'm going to Terra Water, and I'm going to go for that nice little Jet Punch there. It might KO based on their EVs. If they're just max HP, it KOs. If they're max HP, max defense, it doesn't KO. But I won't die to Store Power, so... Yeah, we Terra Water, we go for that Jet Punch. Assuming it KOs, I think Palafin wins unless it's Choice Band on Chien-Pao. But then it has to Sucker Punch. So I Terra Water, and I click my Jet Punch, making it even stronger. Young Palafin's the GOAT. Asfgerthrrth's really good too. Asfgerthrrth's super good. Like, legitimately such a good Pokemon. I feel like people sleep on that mon so much, but it is definitely it's a threat, man. It is a threat. They were smart though to like try and set up on Amoonguss, because if I messed up ever there, they would have gotten some real setup. But yeah, that's the power of Choice Band Adamant. So I think they were just max HP, they weren't max defense. But if they were max defense, it's also a roll because it does 47 to 55 ish to max defense, max HP. And you got to remember that's regular, not boosted. So that's not boosted by Terra. But because I am boosted by Terra, I'm gonna be able to pick up a KO right here. And then Chien-Pao literally has to be banded in order to knock me out with Sucker Punch. If it's not banded, I Jet Punch. If they are Focus Sash, though... Yep, told you. It had to be banded. That might have been banned, to be honest, but doesn't matter. Palafin comes out. It's going to be able to click Jet Punch on Chien-Pao, and it's going to finish him off. I absolutely missed this Pokemon in 6v6 singles. And, I mean, it got banned, but that was a good game. It's pretty close. I'm really glad we got to show off the eject button plus Palafin combo. It was really strong, in my opinion. And if you guys did enjoy, of course, make sure you let me know by leaving a like. Subscribe to the channel as I'm uploading Pokemon Scarlet and Violet content every single day. I have Showdown Lives, I have discussion videos, and I have Wi-Fi battles at least like 4 to 5 times a week. I'm trying to do them. You can use code 2023-2022 if you would like to find some 66 singles OU battles. Make sure you're familiar with Small Run rules, though, if you are playing that. And good game to my boy Cass. He's been a long-time supporter, a long-time friend, and just a great person all around. He works way too hard. He works way too hard. But again, if y'all did enjoy it, let me know. Love Palafin. I'll see y'all in the next one. That's it. Peace.